What's going on, guys? SpikeZillion here, back with another video, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the LIGHTSWORN Modern deck. This is going to be my official deck profile for the deck. Obviously, there could be changes over time, but this is what I have for May of 2024, as of the making of this video. Now, the side list looks really friggin' weird, I'm not going to lie to you, but we're going to get to that when we get to that. We're going to go to the card by card first, because it's going to be a really long card by card if I try to describe everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to describe what functions the cards do in the deck, rather than what the effects are actually straight up, at least for the main deck. If there's like a couple things in there I can mention, but I'm trying to keep it cut low as much as possible. So first of all, let's start with the LIGHTSWORNs. We have Fellas and Wolf. Obviously, these two are the ones that you want to mill from your deck because you get free special summons. They're both level 4. She's a tuner, he is not. When you're going second, she can also tribute herself and pop a card or a monster on the field and then mill 3 more, so that's kind of fun. Garroth is strictly for drawing a million cards. He is literally for card advantage, which is very funny and very broken. If you can happen to special summon him off of Weiss effect or something, that is crazy. Or if you get to normal summon him, that works too. Ideally, the latter would be better, but it's very hard to mill him if you have only 1 copy, so it might be possible to go into 2 copies, but I just don't really feel like there's a need for that. So next we have the Dragonling. This is a Foolish Burial on summons. That's obviously very good. And this is one of your ways to get into the Minerva Synchro. And then for the Send to Graveyard, we usually get Punishment Dragon over Judgment Dragon. That's just because, like, sometimes you just mill better with Punishment Dragon. Most of the time, it's more consistent to have Punishment Dragon. That being said, if you do go into the Levier line, it's kind of hard to use Punishment Dragon, so you kind of have to pick your moments with PD compared to JD. I think JD's a little bit easier to mess around with sometimes, but it depends on the situation, because you can also banish a bunch of stuff with Lumina as well. So next we have the 2 Luminas. So the 2 Luminas, this is not in a lot of deck lists, and I don't really know why, because she's kind of insane. This is not necessarily an infinite loop, because there's not a million Selines and Curiouses in my list. Obviously, Curious is banned, but this is a very good loop to still be able to get a lot of monsters on board, including Appaloosa, basically from just link climbing for free off these 2 cards. So it's pretty nuts. In addition to that, you can also make Levier with this card, which Levier is also great because you get to special summon stuff you didn't get to special summon before, including Garroth if it came down to it, but it's really not a great idea at that point. But anyway, you could do it. You can also make Chaos Angel using the Lumina Twilight Sworn and the Michael if you don't end up going into the Rev Synchron at any point, which we'll get to in a moment. And yeah, you can also do a bunch of other stuff with that. You can actually Dispatter with that as well, I just realized. Oh no, I lied, sorry, neither of them are tuners. Copium. Pretty much, you could go into Dispatter a few different ways. You don't necessarily have to do this way. Obviously, the Bestial line is a great way to do that. I have them in the side, we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, so that's that. Raiden is pretty great because he's just another way to be able to hopefully draw more cards with Garroth, ideally. He's really good early on, I find, because then, because of the fact that he's a level 4 tuner, you can really get into the Minerva Synchro. If you get Wolf or Fellas, it really doesn't matter, because if you get Fellas and you have 2 tuners on your field, I mean, the worst that can happen at that point is you just make the Minerva Xyz instead, and you just go off King, because it really doesn't matter. So yeah, he's pretty cool. We have Weiss. This is the best card in the deck, in my opinion. This card's broken, pretty much. You special this card by placing one on top of the deck and then milling one. Usually it's going to be the cards that brick in your hand, so Wolf and Fellas most of the time. And so at that point, you just special the one that you sent, which is pretty neat. And then maybe one more in addition to that. So this card's pretty amazing. Also, when it's sent to the graveyard, you can target another LIGHTSWORN monster in your graveyard other than himself and special summon it, which is pretty great. So that can include the 2 synchros. That can include the Xyz, like any monster, as long as it's not himself, which is pretty insane. A lot of the time, I actually go for Lumina if I can, if I get her early enough, but I usually don't. So yeah, a pretty strong card in general. Then we have Charged Light Brigade. This is a mill 3 for cost, so you can't really get stuff by card effect here, but you can get the Wolf and the Fellas in this case, which is pretty great. Or no, sorry, just the Wolf, not Fellas, sorry. It's just monster effect for Fellas. And we have Solar Recharge, which is discard a LIGHTSWORN monster, so usually if you brick, you just discard the brick. draw 2 cards and then mill 2, and that's for effect, not for cost. So, you know, other cards in this case would work, like Aerial Effect would go off here, which we'll get to in just a moment. But yeah, pretty great cards, all things considered. There's really nothing to complain about here. We have the Aegis as well, I forgot to mention this. We only put 1 in here because you don't always get to do the effect. Like, sometimes you don't have any Lightsworns left on your board by the end of it, but if you didn't get as good of a board, it's possible you'll have a couple Lightsworns on the field, and you can just negate multiple cards with it. And the fact that it's like Archfiend Abyss is super nuts. It's face-up cards, so you just flip this on a spell and it negates it as well, so that's pretty nuts. Anyway, moving on to the non-engine stuff. Technically, JD is non-engine, I guess, because you're really just making this for free to special summon Dispatter or the Chaos Angel most of the time. Or you could technically make Zombie Vampire with this too. It's just a really big guy. Sometimes he's good going second because he just wipes the board for free, effectively. It's paying 1,000 life points, but it's basically for free. And your opponent has to he's kind of becomes the Fenrir of the deck, if I had to say something like that. Where the opponent's like, thinking, oh god, what do I do? It's really funny, so I like this card a lot. And PD is kind of the opposite. This is better going first, I find. And he's very expensive now, which is, single printings is so stupid. I hope he gets reprinted soon, because I would like to play this in TCG, and I can't afford it. I have no job right now, so I can't afford it. Please give me money, people, please, because I'm struggling. No kidding. I can't make Punishment Dragon for fuck's sakes. So yeah, this is a great card, but yeah, I can't use it right now. Oh well. You might notice I don't have a Fusion in the deck, and that's because I'm gonna be honest, I think it's kind of bad. People will probably get mad at me in the comments about that, but I don't think it's very good. It's not worth your time. Might as well put your effort into another card instead, in my personal opinion. It does give you something to do with these 2 cards, one of them being in your hand, one of them being in the grave. I get that, but it's just better to have Safer to be able to add one of them back to your hand, do more with that, especially crackback-wise, because you might not win your first turn. You're going to have like a super milled deck, so you got to really have something to crack back on, so I think Safer's a great choice for that. Anyway, moving on to actual non-engine, we have Assault Synchron. Yay, Assault Synchron! So, this card is your way to get into Dispatter and Chaos Angel if you didn't already get there. Usually it's to go into Dispatter more than Chaos Angel, just because you want the negate. It's kind of a freebie. We have 3 tunings in the deck, so we can get to this, so that's pretty nice. Also, you can special summon Michael back to the field if it ever gets banished by an effect. So, for example, if you did LIGHTSWORN effect, banish Michael to special something else, or to special something else, you can do Assault Synchron effect to special the Michael as well, so you get a free body, which is great because you can go into Appaloosa that way. You could also use him with a level 3, like Lumina herself, to get into Chaos Angel, so that's pretty great, right? And then we have Revolution Synchron, excuse me, they mix up in my head. Mind you, also, this is technically my first deck that's really utilized these. I did use it in that Dragon deck that you probably saw a little bit ago, but this was the first deck that I really got to try out using the Synchron guys, and they're both really strong. I really do like these cards. So this one gets you into Michael pretty much, and then you special him from the graveyard. You mill 1 for free. Hopefully you get a Wolf or a Velas off that. Probably not, though. And then you get the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragons, which is pretty great, right? And then next we have the Seifert. You can tribute him to add the Dragon Link to your hand, which is a freebie special summon as well. So that's pretty great. And then obviously this has a banish effect to add back one of the big dragons. So that's pretty great. We have the Horus cards. So we have Dwamatef in here. The reason we have 2 water monsters in here, and that's specifically why I have Ariel and Dwamatef here. Well, for one, Ariel's kind of nice because you get to banish 3 cards, so it kind of makes your opponent think if it's something like Snake Eye. So that's kind of nice. But then on top of that, because you have 2 waters, you have a little bit more coverage for certain situations. So for example, if your opponent has Cast Chair Birth and they banish one of the waters, you still have another water to fall back on. And then that's for the Dragite spell in the gate. So that's kind of why we want the waters in the graveyard. So I have 2 of them just to be safe, and they are 2 different effects, also just to be safe. In case something bad happens to Dwamatef, I can still get Ariel and do Ariel stuff as well, so on and so forth. And so we have the Happy as well, and the Imseti. Now, obviously, we only have 3 of them. We don't have all 4 of them, and that's because the 4th one's kind of mid compared to the other 3. Happy's the best one on field, and then the other two are really good to make Zombie Vampire, and you detach the Dwelmetef instead of the Amseti in this case, just so you can have the water in the grave. So it's pretty nice. Obviously, Amseti's a custom card. It's kind of ridiculous. King Stark, also a custom card. This card's ridiculous too. I would not be surprised if these cards get hit at some point, but we'll see. Maybe King Stark specifically, but it's hard to say. Might be Amseti more so, but it wouldn't really matter. That's the funny part. Like, maybe it would, because it's kind of your starter, but I don't know. It's weird, right? Because the field spell's there too, and the field spell's getting Amseti. Like, I don't know what you would hit here. It's really odd. Probably King Sark, I feel like, overall. But anyway. What else is non-engine? We have the Ishizu Shufflers. I don't really have to explain that, right? They're just good, right? Okay, cool. Moving on. Ariel is, well, I already kind of explained it, but yeah, for the most part, she is just great to be able to banish 3 cards from your opponent's graveyard, or maybe even your graveyard if you need it. So, like, if you have PD in your hand and you already did something, and so you only have 3 Lightsworns in your grave and you want to banish 1 more, you can banish 1 more. And because this has banished them, it resolves as much as possible, which is pretty great. So that's that. Then we have, am I missing anything? I think that's it, right? Tuning we already briefly talked about, so this is the Surger and Mills 1. So yeah, that is the main deck. There's not much really else to talk about with it. We just have to go into the combos, and the combos are going to take forever, so that's why I'm trying to speed through this. For the side cards, we have the Bistals. Now, why do we have Bistals in the side and not in the main? To be 100% honest with you, I feel like the Bistals are better going second than they are going first. I feel like when they're going first, it's a little bit tricky. It's good in the sense that, like, going first, you can also get regained as well. I think it depends on the matchup too, right? Because ideally, you'd like to banish your opponent's monsters. I don't think you want to banish your monsters as much. Maybe a little bit for PD's sake, but, like, for the most part, you don't really want to banish your own cards. So I think depending on the matchup, I would probably side these in instead of something like maybe, I don't know, if I feel uncomfortable with, for example, like the tuners or something, I could maybe switch them out. I don't know. I don't know how comfortable I'd feel about that, but we'll see. Makes tuning a really easy side out, though, as well. If I do side out the Synchrons, I could really side out 6 here, and then put the 4 Bistals, and then maybe 2 Ghost Ogre, or like the 2 Lightning Storm if it's going second, or so on and so forth. There's like a lot of different options there to be had. So I think this makes it a little bit more comfy, and I'm also running a smaller deck list, so that way it's a little more consistent, because I don't really want to have both. I don't really want to go 60, it's a little too much, and I feel like it lacks the consistency of being able to get the Weiss and the Dragonling in your hand. And Safer, if you end up normaling Safer. It's also another good normal summon, so yeah. Ghost Ogre, because in my opinion, Ghost Ogre is the best hand trap in the game right now. It is so good, and people are not realizing it. It's so broken because of Flambridge. I want to make a whole video dedicated to this card because it's so sick in this format, and I think people are sleeping on it. So we're going to make another video later this week, ideally, on this card, because this card is fucking amazing, this format. I have this. Now this, you might have never seen this card before. I found out about this card the other day. What is this card? This card's very funny. So in this deck, it's usable because of Tenpai. So Tenpai is a problem, right? So if they make me go first, which they probably will, I can make Octo Bypass, okay? So what this card does, at the start of the battle phase, you can detach a material from this card. During the battle phase, a player can only attack, this battle phase, a player can only attack with 1 monster, and its attacks become a direct attack, okay? And that's hard once per turn, sure. At the end of the damage step, if a monster inflicted battle damage by a direct attack, give control of the monster that attacked to the turn player's opponent. Now, just keep in mind that this is not once per turn, this second effect. That second effect is not once per turn. So this is great versus Tenpai for a few reasons. The main reason is that you basically force something to direct attack, something that is very, very good, and then you go, you yoink whatever they got, and then this basically forces them to make the level 10 early because they don't really want to deal with only being able to attack with 1 monster, right? So they're going to try to make the level 10 early, and then what's going to happen is, because they attack with the level 10, you get the level 10 permanently, which is super strong, and then you basically just link this off later, la-di-da, go on with your day. And yeah, because they're making their Synchro 10 early, And if you have Ghost Ogre in your hand as well, you just pop their field spell. They basically are fucked. They're gonna have... like, how do they get out of that situation? In the main phase, they're not going to be unaffected, so they're going to just lose. So, I think this, in addition to Ghost Ogre, is going to be extremely strong for a Tenpai matchup. So I'm very interested in testing that out and seeing how that goes. I haven't been able to do much of it because nobody's really playing Tenpai in my locals for some reason. Seems to be mostly branded still, and I hate that deck so much. I wish it was gone, but it is what it is. I keep seeing it, so I can't really test this right now. We'll have to find out. Maybe if someone else wants to test it, I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments about this card, in addition to Ghost Ogre, or a Spell Negate for that matter, like Dragite for the field spell. So, anywho, that's that. Then we have Branded Regained, obviously, no shit. We have Feather Duster, we have Lightning Storm, so we have back row removal cards and technically monster removal, and then evenly matched in the side. So for the extra deck, let's talk about the extra deck now. So Dragite is our Spell Negate, Crystal Wing is our Monster Negate, this is Barone, yay, it's 2 cards that are Barone, yay! Which is technically better, low-key. And then Bestial Dispatter is, obviously, it could be whatever you want it to be. Usually you want to do the negate, I feel like, most of the time, but it depends. And then Chaos Angel is great. I don't know what else to say about that. There's, like, you're gonna have, like, 4 Synchro Monsters on your board in some lists or some hands, so, I mean, this card's kind of busted. So that's that. Minerva's a custom card. This gets you... This Fool's just 2 LIGHTSWORN cards, so this is super broken. And then also it banishes 4 to mill 4, which is pretty insane. So yeah, that's a good card. I don't have to explain that one. Michael is just here, again, to make Crystal Wing or Chaos Angel or Dispatter. Ideally, the first and the last of those 2. So yeah, he's a pretty good card. You can do other effects, like you can banish a card. It doesn't really matter, honestly, but you could do it. Levier is what you make off of the Luminas, and you special summon something that's banished. Ideally, something you haven't special summoned yet. Excuse me. Minerva is basically draw power. That is basically what she's here for. She's not really here for much else, but you could use her for other stuff, but she's strictly here for draw power. She is a win more card, all things considered. Zombie Vampire is kind of the same thing, except I could grab a Fenrir for my opponent, so that's really funny. And then we have Access Code Talker for if we roll bad. We have Appaloosa if we roll good. We have IP, just because it's IP, she's broken. We have Lena. This is our way to get into Selene, because there's not a lot of spellcasters in this list. Obviously, we have the Luminas, but we'd like to not make them yet, or ideally, we haven't made them yet, and then the Selene will make them for us, so that's pretty great. So we go Lena into Selene, that works out. And Lena's pretty easy to make, right? Because you just need a light monster, and you can actually use the Minerva Synchro for that, in addition to Zombie Vampire or something. So it's super easy to make Lena, so that's pretty great. We have SP, of course, because she's apparently broken. I still think that she's not a $150 card, but whatever. She is a very good card still, so obviously I'm going to play her. And Selene, of course, because I think she is one of the better parts of this deck. Because we don't have a lot of spells, but we're sure as hell going to mill them and use them. So we will definitely have 3 counters on this card. So yeah, that is it. Let's get into the testing, because it's going to be a long-ass video. Alright, so we have done testing with this deck in the past. So this is not going to be as extensive as that time. This is a really weird hand. But we're going to give it a shot, though. Well, recharge would get us to draw 2. I suppose we might as well start with that. Although, obviously, if... I don't know, with... Oh my god, that's pretty good. Oh! Oh, that's disappointing. If it wasn't Fellas... Man, that's tough. If it was reversed, it would have been pretty strong, actually. Holy shit, that would have been pretty incredible. That's unfortunate. But we could do Weiss Effect here. I think we have to do it now. We could do Charge here and do Dragonling. Actually, that's probably better. Mill 3. Wow, unbelievable. That was pretty terrible, too. Good Dragonling. That's okay. These cards are custom cards, so it's okay. It doesn't matter. Ling Effect, we're gonna send the Fellas, and we'll go Fellas Special herself. Right? Then we make these 2 into Minerva. It's lagging. Oh god. Thank god. Okay. Minerva 1, Dragonling 2. Dragonling will get the PD. And then we'll send 2. We'll send a Weiss and a Fellas. So we have all 3 Felluses in our graveyard already, which is kind of not ideal, but that's fine. Go Fellus 1, Weiss 2, target the... probably the Wolf here? Doesn't really matter inherently. But yeah, we're here now. We still have the Weiss effect in hand to go off with as well. But right now, we do have a water in our hand that we can use for stuff, but we need a Lumina to send it to grave first, I think. That would be really nice. We almost could do Minerva here, because we are not really afraid of what's going on with the Weiss, because we have the Weiss to guarantee our protection here. So we're actually going to go for the Minerva, and I'm actually going to put her up here. We'll go Effect. We'll mill 3, hopefully we draw some. We draw 1, 2. Sure. Looks good to me. Oh yeah, baby! Oh yeah! We're in, buddy! Oh yeah, that was nice. Holy shit. Alright, King Stark. Sounds good. We're gonna go fucking crazy now. Alright, we're gonna go... Dwalmatef. We're gonna get the Happy, because we haven't milled that yet. There it is. Holy shit, that's fucking wild. Now we can go... The Dwalmatef and the Imseti. We can make a zombie vampire here. Holy shit, that was disgusting. Zombie vampire effect. Whoops, don't want to... Yeah, we don't want to detach Imseti, sorry. We want to detach the Dwalmatef. Mill 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not bad. Off of our specials, probably... I guess we could go safer, because then we can draw, or we can add the other Dragon Link just to have it in hand for safekeeping. It's not too bad. We don't really need Lumina yet. That's why I'm kind of unsure if we want to do Lumina this early. I feel like we don't need to. How many names do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 names engraved? Yeah. No. 7 names engraved. Holy shit, we're like Crystal Beast levels at this point. We'll go with the safer, because I do think it'd be worth it to do the tribute effect. Get the baby. So then we have something for safekeeping for next turn. For the crackback if it happens, right? And we still have 6 cards in hand, we can still go crazy. We could do Mudora here, discard Mudora. Yeah, we might as well. And we'll get the Imseti out, get it out of our hand. Now we're in a pretty good spot, because we're not going to mill Imseti anymore. It's going to be a little bit nicer here. So here at this point we can make Lena if we want. We could go Dragite next. We're probably not going to get Michael, unfortunately. We're not getting Garroth yet. Maybe if I did Lumina there, it would have gotten me Garroth, actually. It might have been a little bit better, but it's fine. I'm gonna do these 2 into the Lena. And then... Here we can go the Weiss now, I think. I think this is safe to do at this point. We go... Weiss, and we haven't normal summoned yet. So this is gonna go to grave once we mill it, so we're just gonna mill it off the rip. Wolf to special. We have a Rev Synchron now in the grave, which is pretty fantastic, because now we can, if we do somehow get to Michael, which in fact we can now, we can get Crystal Wing here. Is this hard once per turn? Yeah, each effect is hard once. I'm just trying to think if there's a way to get another... Oh, yeah, there is. We'll go Mudora now. We're gonna shuffle back all of the Felluses. And this is just to see if we can maybe get it off of the Minerva Mill 4. And then hopefully we can special another tuner. Because then we can make Dragite plus Crystal Wing here. So we're gonna normal summon Lumina here. I might as well go Effect here. So we're gonna go Effect. We're gonna banish... Oh no, we don't have a way to do that yet. We have to do Minerva first. So maybe we don't do this yet. Okay, let's not do this yet. Let's do Minerva Effect first. So So we're gonna banish. We'll banish the Lumina because it doesn't really matter. And the Wolf, the Weiss, and the Raiden. And then we'll mill 4 here. And hopefully we will hit a Fellas. Nope, we did not. We did hit an Aerial here. So we could banish more if we want. In this case, I probably will, because I want the PD effect. And how many names do we... What names do we have? We have those names. So we're going to banish this Ling that we just newly hit there. That works out. Because then, yeah, I don't want to hit this Lumina TwilightSworn, because you can get that off of the Lumina that we're about to summon. So, okay, now I think we normal summon. Also an Assault Synchron hit the grave now, so that's also quite nice. So here we're going to go Lumina effect. We will banish the Garroth, I think, here. And target the Lumina. We'll special that Lumina. Now this can go wherever the hell we want now. This doesn't matter. In this case, I think we do want to get to the Crystal Wing. But we could do the Dragite here as well. I almost should have kept the Fellas now that I think about it, but we can also do Raiden as well. Once we get the loop going here. Yeah, this works. So, tell you what, we could make this into the Selene instead. And special that TwilightSworn Lumina that way. We have 3 spells now, for sure. Yep, 100%. This can make, we'll just make the Dragite now, get it out of the way. This can make the Selene. And then Selene effect. We'll just special this Lumina. Then we'll go this Lumina, we'll banish the what? How many names are in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're good. We'll banish the... We'll banish the Weiss, I get, or... Yeah. Do I have... What names do I have? Do I have a Ling in there already? I do. Okay, I think either way I'm going to be banishing something I already have in there. Yeah, so I'll target the... I can target the Weiss, really. It doesn't matter, actually. But the Raiden would be Raiden effect, so this will be bonus. So I'll just go Raiden effect here. Actually, do I do it? Oh, space is so limited. That's the part that's so tough. That's the part that makes this so much more difficult. I think, really, I just let it go. Or I just get rid of this now and make Apo now. I think that's probably better. We do this and make Apo, I think. That's fine. And then, obviously I could have made SP with that as well. Or, well, if I could have made SP with the, actually, yeah, I would have absolutely made SP. The Apollousa's fine. This 2 negate Apo. This works. Now we go Raiden effect. See if we can hit. Whoops. Well, okay, that sucks. Okay, well, that kind of feels like cheating, but we got Wolf there. That works, I guess. Okay, now this is gonna make Michael. Then we have Rev Synchron effect. Mill 1, hopefully now it's not Fellas. Okay, that's good. This is gonna make us our Crystal Wing. We still have this Luminous effect. We haven't done it yet, so we still have lots of options here. We could go with the TwilightSworn Lumina and we can get the Michael back, and the Michael can make a Chaos Angel for us. It's pretty good, right? This Wolf is probably going to be linked off into SP, most likely. So this is what we're going to do, I think. We're going to go Lumina, will discard... I think we will discard this Ling after all. And we will target the TwilightSworn Lumina. We can make Chaos Angel with this, actually, as a matter of fact. We don't even need... This is pure bonus at this point. But realistically speaking, we just want to go as crazy as possible. So I think this can make SP. This is fine. We don't need the second effect, right? That's fine. Now this we can go effect, banish the Michael, target the Michael. Like that. And there we go, we have Chaos Angel. Now we don't have Dispatter, of course. But that's fine. We didn't really need Dispatter. We didn't really need Levier either. There we go. Chaos Angel. Boom. There we go. So now, Look at this board. I did, and oh, on top of that, bonus, special, bonus, with the happy as well. So there you go. We have 2 negates from Apo. We have 1 negate from Crystal Wing. We have 1 spell negate from Dragite. We have the Chaos Angel unaffected synchros, and everything's indestructible here. Which might be bad for Tempai for these 2, but we'll find that out when the opponent special summons a card or normal summons a card, whatever. And then we finally have the happy, which is also great for King Sark effect. So yeah, and for its own effect for that matter. So yeah, this is a great hand. This is a great deck. Honestly, I love this deck so much, and you saw how consistent it was. I had to do a little bit of a thinking man's game kind of there, but it worked out. It's truly a game of chess with this deck, so kind of have to scope it out depending on what you're trying to do. But this is the board that you're going to be making with this list. So I think in general this is fantastic, and you can see the power of the Luminas as well. The Luminas went off super hard in this list. So all things considered, I think you guys will have fun with this list. So try and check it out. See how you guys think. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Rate, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next time.